Hey YouTube, Anti-Breeder1M here, and welcome back to my channel. Apart from having a rather weird hairstyle, which kind of looks funky as well, I wanted to update you on my life situation and just give you a few notes on that. So, in the crypto markets, I've lost a lot of money. Probably say between $40,000 and $45,000 so far, and I don't know how far down the crypto market's going to plunge. So it's pretty much speculation from here as well. That's the way crypto markets work, and it's very, very erratic and very, very unreliable. But in the long term, it's reliable. I'm just saying that in the short term, it's very risky. And if you are in it for the long game, I think ultimately you will win. But losing $40,000 in a matter of days is pretty much a new experience for me. I don't think I've ever done that before, so I'm not feeling particularly bad because I know that these sorts of things do happen in crypto markets, but I am feeling a little bit apprehensive and a little bit sort of yeah, even a little bit sad. So, but that's not too bad. I can deal with that. I wanted to show you a few things. In my law studies, I'm doing rather well, I guess. I have completed maybe a third or fourth or fifth draft of my assignment 3 essay, which is worth 50% of assessment. And I'll just go that through with you. It talks about the collision between sexual harassment law and defamation law and why the conflict between these two laws is not particularly urgently in need of reform. So we have to argue whether it is or is not an urgent need of reform, and I argued that it really isn't. Because I argued that with a fair and practical complaints handling process, such a collision is not particularly urgent, urgently in need of reform. It's quite an interesting essay. It's just hard to explain. I went through things like the relevant laws, sexual harassment laws, defamation laws, and then how to deal with the complaints process. So if someone complains of being sexually harassed, the most important thing to happen in the first instance is for both sides of the complaint, both the complainant and the accused, to have faith in the process. This will pay off dividends in the future of that particular case. Yeah. And secondly, of course, things like defamation, publicizing the event, and leaks to the media. These things should not be, in my opinion, done in an ad hoc fashion. They should be done deliberately, if at all. And the consequences of drafting information to the media, such as with the Me Too movement, which is a famous publicity stunt, really, should be known from the earliest possible stage. So we don't do things ad hoc in law. We do things with a carefulness and a view to the future. So we know the consequences of our actions to the greatest extent possible, even though that's not always possible. And the third stage of a complaints case is when, of course, we have made it a public affair and the reputation of each party involved is left to the mercy or perhaps the chaos of the media and the public. So, of course, we have things like defamation claims and so on, which allow people who have been defamed in the wrong fashion to claim compensation for their supposed hurt or inconvenience to their lives, such as Jeffrey Rush, who has been compensated $2.8 million, I think, for his involvement in the particular defamation case with Sydney Theatre Company or something. But I argued that having being awarded that much money in a defamation case is excessive, and that it would be advisable for that people like Rush should not be receiving so much, and that the compensation should be remedial and pastoral in terms of looking after his particular personal needs, rather than compensating him in a huge amount of money, which I believe is unrealistic and unsustainable for the legal system. So basically, that's what I was talking about in my essay, and I hope you got something out of that. It's 2,000 words. Obviously, in the course of writing this essay, I've written a lot more than 2,000 words and pared it down to about 2,080 words, which I'm going to have to pare down even more to 2,000 words exactly. But this has been an excellent exercise for me, and one that has been much enjoyed. Doing legal studies is the focus of my day, so whenever I go out, I focus on completing my legal assignment work for that particular day, and I don't do anything else until I finish that. That's how my system works, and it's been working pretty well. Today, for example, I worked for about 2 or 3 hours on my assignment, which was a pretty good fulfillment of my target. If I work for shorter than that, I don't kill myself, but sometimes I do end early, and I might visit Garden City or Indooroopilly or some other place, just walk around the mall and chill out somewhere else, have something to eat, and occupy myself another way. But I do pretty well with my law studies because they form a focus for my day and allow me to be occupied and be happy within myself that I'm doing something towards a particular diploma or something to aim for in the future. So yeah, next thing I want to talk about is this book that I borrowed from the library. It's probably the most interesting book I've ever borrowed from the library. Recent book that I also borrowed was very interesting, called Best Australian Poems 2013, I think it was, or 14, maybe 2014 Best Australian Poems. It had a poem about Arthur Stace in it, who was a street chalktivist, who always chalked the word eternity on the pavements, before he died in 1967 in Sydney. But that book was very interesting. This book is also very, very interesting. It's called Dangerous Experiments for After Dinner, and it discusses various things you can do to be a party animal and to be more fun at parties. I'll just give you a few examples here, if I can try and work out what they all. I have read through a few of these. So, for example, balancing 2 forks on the side of a wine glass, that sort of thing. So as you can see, it's called the toothpick experiment or something. Let's try and find another one. Oh yes, the candle quadrille, which is a case of lighting. I think it's a case of lighting a candlestick with another candlestick while holding one leg up. It's kind of like a balancing act or balancing exercise for 2, I should call it clowns, who just love to clown around. And all you need is 2 candles, heavy candlesticks, and matches to perform the experiment. There's other experiments involving eggs, which of course as a vegan I will not promote, which I don't endorse at all. But I did a TikTok video on this one here. I think there's another one, benign flame. This is where you use alcohol to coat banknotes and set them alight, and they won't catch fire. But they will catch fire, but they won't burn to a cinder. So you can still extinguish the notes and then use them later on to buy your falafel roll or whatever. So it's a very, very interesting book. I find it very, very beautiful to read, and I'm enjoying going through some of these amazing recipes for disaster, I can call them that. There's another one, Jack Soda Jerk, which is an experiment in which you can lift a bottle up using just a straw, that sort of thing. So yeah, pretty cool, pretty awesome. So that's my life, bro. I haven't spoken to Joanne Nancy since I talked about her on this channel earlier on in a previous video. She doesn't have a very big Facebook presence as I expected, would be the case, because I believe she's a scammer. She's just a very well set up scammer, but she doesn't have an extensive Facebook post page, because that's very time consuming to set up. So if you're not a real person, you wouldn't even bother to set up an extensive Facebook page, and she hasn't bothered to do that. So I believe she's a scammer. And I haven't spoken to her. She's just been a little bit quibblesome with me, and said, if you don't want to invest in crypto, which I believe is an invitation to be scammed, then don't, kind of like, she doesn't really want to talk to me. She said, and I quote, if you're not interested, forget it. Kind of like saying, if you're not interested in investing your money in a crypto scheme which I contrive, then I'm not interested in talking to you, that sort of thing. So folks, that's all I have for you today, and if I have anything more to tell you, I also want to let you know that I got a couple of books. Let me just get the books, hang on a second. This is for next trimester. I'm doing a course called Contracts Law 1. I think it's Law 172, Contracts Law, and these are the two huge books which I ordered online through Zookall to satisfy the requirements for textbooks. So this is Contract Law. I'll tell you how many pages it's got. Let me see. It's got about 1,300 pages, so it's huge. It's that really huge. Probably not going to go through the whole thing. Just going to read samples of it throughout the whole trimester, but which is a waste, of course, because I really much prefer reading the whole book over many trimesters. But this is probably one trimester's worth for two books, and it cost me about $270, I think, just to get both of these books and store them in my home. So wish me luck with reading those, because it's going to be a long haul for that. But I'm sure I'll manage, because I managed passing Law 100 and Law 101, and now Law 102. I'm pretty sure I'll pass that. So Law 172 should be pretty easy as well. And after that, I'll be halfway through my diploma course, and I'll have finished in 1.5 years' time after that. So hopefully I'll have completed my diploma by the end of 2023, I think it will be, or 2022, something like that. So there you go. All right, folks, hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.